What's going on, guys? It's Caleb, and today I have a 2006 Mercedes SLK 55 AMG that is in for a detail. Now, this Mercedes does belong to a friend of mine, and I've been dying for a while to get my hands on it just because of the kind of car it is and the paint color it is, because believe it or not, this paint color right here is a Caspian blue metallic, and it's really rare when it comes with these cars. Now, I wouldn't say it's like an evergreen green color kind of rare, which only 8 of those were made for these specific SLK 55s in the 06 era, but you know, about 1,200 or so were made, give or take, and roughly 52% of those were actually sold here domestically in the US. So to me, someone being really into that whole research side of things and really nerdy side of car stuff, I found that really cool, and I really wanted to get my hands on it, and we ended up doing that, and I think we did a pretty good job. So the whole point around this was to kind of restore the paint from its defects that are in there, not 100% of course, but we're going to go around and do a one-step polish and then put a ceramic coating on it just to preserve that exterior. And as you'll see as I'm doing the wheels, these wheels are extremely dirty. But before we go any further, guys, please, if you just take a second real quick and like the video, go ahead and press subscribe and go ahead and ring that bell. I say it every video because it truly does help me tremendously whenever you can do one of those things. I know this one's coming at you a little later again, but not too late, and I just gotta tell you, man, I've been busy. I'm telling you, I had a wedding photo shoot, had a bunch of stuff I had to do. I had a car photo shoot that was in Tampa, and if you guys would like to see that stuff, let me know down below. But for this video, I finally had the time to go ahead and edit it, and I know these wheels look disgusting, but trust me, they do come clean. It turned out fantastic. So yeah, guys, on with the video. Real quick, I'm just going to jump in here because with these wheels I had to go back through them like 3 or 4 times to make sure they were absolutely clean because they were that bad off and caked up with just so much crap. On camera though, just right here, I show me going in another time because I'm not going to waste your time by showing 3 or 4 different rounds through with a brush. Just take my word for it, but if you don't believe me, check out my arms as you're walking through the wheel section because they are just covered in crud that has flicked off the brushes as I'm going in and out of the wheels. To kick things off with the exterior, we're going to go ahead and do a pre-treatment on the paint, and in my foam cannon is some Purple Power diluted 4:1 with just a little bit of Chemical Guys Mr. Pinks just to give that foam some extra grabbing power to stay on the surface and soak in for a little bit. When it comes to putting a ceramic coating on a vehicle, you really want to make sure you do everything in your power to have a squeaky clean surface, and that requires you to polish, but even with a polisher, you don't want to gunk up your pads and do all these other things, so you prepare to polish, and one of those things is making sure that there's no wax or sealant or anything coating wise left on the surface of the vehicle that you're planning on polishing, and this is one way to really combat whatever coating might be left on the vehicle. Now for ceramic coatings, it doesn't do as great of a job as it would for waxes or sealants, but there are other stuff for that. But in this case, I'm pretty sure there's no ceramic coating on this vehicle just from talking to my buddy, and so I think we're pretty much good to go with a pre-treatment with something like degreaser. One common reoccurring theme you will see throughout this video is that I'm starting to use my foam cannon for just about every task when it comes to washing the car. I'm sure if you've watched my recent videos week by week, you've probably seen me more and more using it, but when it comes to hand washings, pre-treatments, clay barring, all that stuff, I use my foam cannon because it's a great source of lubrication. And as for this detail, we are using Chemical Guys' Mr. Pink just because of how nice it foams up and it's thick and it stays for a while. and one last time with a foam cannon. We're going to go around the entire car, so that way we can make sure whenever we clay bar this thing, there is no chance of any blemishes going into the clear coat, and we're good to use our clay media. I wasn't kidding at the beginning of this video whenever I said I was going to be using the foam cannon a lot, but I mean really it's an essential tool almost to my entire detailing routine, as it should be for a lot of detailers. It's really a tool that can be utilized in more ways than one. I think it's pretty much safe to say that the car is prepped, cleaned, and ready to go and ready to be polished. But before we pull out the fancy polish from the dual action polisher and all that, we gotta dry the car off first. As usual, I am using my waffle weave towel from the Rag Company. It's pretty much the only towel I use for drying, other than another one that I do have that works pretty well, but most of the time you guys will see me using this one because it is my pride and joy, and over all the towels that I've used, this one definitely reigns superior. A really good, thorough, one-step polish is exactly what this vehicle needed just to get that paint to pop once again. And what we're using to accomplish that is Meguiar's microfiber cutting pads paired with Sonax's Perfect Finish. And I gotta say, I mean, this setup right here was probably the best thing I could have ever thought for this car. I mean, Sonax has one heck of a long duration of work time. The cutting pads work so great to really get that polish in there and give it a little extra cutting power while actually refining the surface at the same time. And just overall, the gloss is immaculate. I mean, this is a really good one-step setup if anyone is interested in something that would work really good for a pretty good price. I mean, especially with the time duration I had. I mean, I had roughly 2 days, but maybe 4 hours per day to really work on this car and get it prepped for our rally from Eurocharged Orlando to St. Augustine and back. You know, this car needed to be in perfect condition, and doing a one-step was obviously the route we needed to go in order to get this thing prepared in time for this rally. Now if you look at the air vent to the right side of the clip right here, those little divots of paint in between those 3 slits, I had to do those by hand. Of course I didn't get it on camera because whenever I was doing it, it was nighttime, about maybe 2 hours from this clip right here that you're seeing, but I did have to go through there by hand, and there was a bunch of little divvy spots like that where I had to go in with a microfiber applicator and just really work it in. moving onwards from the polishing, because I think you guys kind of get the point with the polishing concept. It did turn nighttime, so I wasn't able to record, but we're moving on to the second day here, and I'm going to give you guys a few clips of how it turned out before I go and throw on the ceramic coating, and man, it turned out super nice. This car, as I said it before, it really needed this polish. It really needed it, and boy, did it look nice. I was so excited to hop in there and throw on that ceramic coating, man. You have no idea the feeling I had when I walked in that garage and saw the car. And the first thing I did to kick off the second day was when I saw the car, immediately went through and wiped the entire car down with some CarPro's eraser just to make sure it was a squeaky clean surface and that there was no more polishing residue left over, because we definitely don't want any of that when we go to put on the ceramic coating. CarPro CQuartz 3.0 UK Edition is the ceramic coating we're going to be using for this SLK 55 AMG, and I am very excited to do so. And the reason I'm so excited is because you have to understand where I'm from, right? So whenever you present someone an $800 to $1,500 appraisal, let's say, for a ceramic coating detail on their vehicle, they kind of freak out. Now, not everyone, but you know, the vast majority of people where I'm from really do, and that's why I usually use something like a Projet ceramic coating on other vehicles, because it's a more affordable option for the vehicle owner, and it works out better for them, and for me it makes them a happier customer because they still get what they want. Granted, it's not going to be as long lasting protection as something like this, but it still gives off really good gloss and really good protection. But back to the CQuartz here, everyone knows this stuff. It's really good, and the owner of this vehicle actually came to me and said, hey man, what's some really good stuff that we can put on the car for a ceramic coating? You know, whatever you show me, I'll buy, and then you can just throw it on there. That way it's no cost to you. Which I've never had anyone offer that to me, and I was like, hey, you know, this is some pretty good stuff. It's not too expensive, and it's not too cheap, and it's actually highly recommended by a lot of detailers. And he was game. That's all it took. We went ahead and ordered it. It arrived the same day as I was going to throw on the ceramic coating, and we got to town on it, and the results were just speechless. And to all of you who just scrolled down to the comment section and started typing, hey man, you don't have any gloves on. Listen, I know, I understand. You really should have gloves on when you ever do a ceramic coating, but this was just me and a buddy hanging out, doing this sort of stuff, and for what it counts, I really didn't get any of it on my hands because I've done this 1,000 times, and I was pretty confident in my abilities because I did look in my bag and saw that there were no gloves in there, as you guys have pretty much gotten used to me not wearing gloves, but I was confident, and we ended up doing pretty good and didn't make a mess at all whatsoever. So yes, as a disclaimer, if you are working with chemicals, especially with something such as SiO2, you should most definitely be wearing gloves when doing this. Do not follow me. After waiting around for quite a good bit of time, playing around as you saw in the clip with us playing with the nitrous, went ahead and helped him install the nitrous to a certain degree. He mostly did all the work, and we needed the time to fly because that ceramic coating really needed to quote-unquote bake a little bit before we put on some CarPro's Reload to protect the ceramic coating while it cures. Usually if you read around online or so, some people say wait at least a minimum of an hour, some people say 3 hours, some people even say 10 hours. We went ahead and waited about 2 hours or so, and we went ahead and applied it. And as you watch me do the ceramic coating as well as the reload, you're going to see me switching through different colored towels, and that's because as you're buffing off the ceramic coating, that ceramic coating starts to dry inside of your towels, creating kind of like small little abrasive glass sort of pieces inside that towel. It's pretty much rendered it useless and you gotta throw them away. So I had bought a brand new pack of towels just for this application process, and I gotta say I think we went through just about all of them. But now with CarPro Reload on, we're pretty much ready to do the interior, and yes, I am doing the interior. You guys are going to see pretty much majority of the stuff I did, but it is nighttime and I'm in a garage with minimal lighting, so not really too much, but we did get the interior prepped for this rally as well, and plus I was riding with him during the rally because I was taking pictures, so I wanted to make sure it was clean for all of us to enjoy while we were taking a 6-hour round trip to and from. As we move into the interior, I really just focused on cleaning up these seats a bit with Griots Garage's 3-in-1 leather cleaner, I believe it's called. It focuses on cleaning, conditioning, and protecting the leather, and this stuff works really well, and I do highly recommend it. I use it pretty much on every leather seat that I touch whenever it comes to cleaning them. And then of course the basic stuff you would think of, like vacuuming out the vehicle, dusting off the dash, and making sure that gets sucked up into the vacuum, and then cleaning and wiping down all the hardscapes like the center console, the main dash, the steering wheel, the cluster gauge, all that sort of stuff that you would expect from a simple interior cleanup. And then after all of that, we went ahead and cleaned the windows, and then we took some P&S bead maker. You guys know I love that stuff very much, and we wiped down all the windows with that, so that way there was extra gloss as well as protection and hydrophobic properties on the windows. And with all that done real quick in a time-lapsed fashion, we go ahead and move into doing the interior dressing. I am using Meguiar's hyper dressing, which this will be the same stuff you see me brush onto tires as my tire dressing. This stuff is wonderful, and it gives you that final touch on an interior that you really want to look forward to, as well as some UV protection to back it up. While we were sitting around looking at the car, just in awe with how great it looked, and we were wiping down the windows and stuff, me and my buddy were just sitting here thinking about what other things can we do real quick to give that extra pop to the car. And what came to mind was I had these little drill attachment polishing little round things that are meant for exhaust tips pretty much. And I had some metal polish with me as well, and I went ahead and doused these little things with that metal polish and started going off on the exhaust tip. I did my best to keep everything clean. There was nothing flicking off by any means whatsoever, but the exhaust tips turned out fantastic looking, and man, I didn't even really look at those whenever I was doing the vehicle, but it turned out great, and it gave it that little extra oomph that the car really needed. So we've pretty much reached the ending of the video here, and I gotta say, man, the car turned out amazing. I don't have ending shots like I usually do for this car in particular because we were just in such a rush. Like, we finished the car I think at like 11 o'clock at night, and we ended up having to get up at like 5:30 to get ready and meet up at 7 a.m. and all head out to Orlando and then go to St. Augustine. And for those who don't know that trip, it's about a 6-hour round trip with a lot of driving. It was a lot of fun, and I took some amazing pictures, and then later on that week we actually went and took pictures in Tampa with this specific car because of how amazing it looked. And here are some photos here. Yeah, man, I mean, the end product was just, I'm really speechless, especially with how beautiful the blue is. If you guys know me, I'm really biased for the color blue. I love that stuff so much. Turned out absolutely amazing. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Seriously, if you did, go ahead and leave me a like, go ahead and subscribe, and go ahead and ring that bell. That way you know every single time I upload. I upload weekly here, and I know this video was a lengthy one, but if you're here till the end, I thank you guys so much for sticking around with me. We're about to hit about 1,900 subscribers, and that's crazy. We're almost at 2,000. It really is insane, and I can't thank you guys enough. So thank you guys so much for spending time with me in another video, and I will see you all next week. Later.